And then do I need to put on the mic?
Pardon? No, the mic should be rolling.
Okay. That's the tabletop there. Okay.
Oh, this one?
No,
Nope,
it's on the other side.
It's a boundary mic.
Oh, okay, great. Great.
As long as you're over there. All right, so here we go. I'm going to present to you guys my lightning round on what urban farming taught me about learning environments. Now, this is a Pachacucho, so once I start rolling, I'm just going to automatically advance and go with it. So, before I get started, I'd like to say that what I'm about to talk about was in no way planned. These are all completely spontaneous learning experiences that I'm going to share with you. And to give you a little context, I live in the middle of Helena, Montana. It's an urban environment, and I have what I like to refer to as an urban farm. And so what that means is we've got my kids. This is Karis. She's 3 years old in this picture, and as you can probably tell, she absolutely loves the color purple. It's one of her favorite things in the world. And so everything that she gets has got to be purple or related to purple in some way. So when we talk about what she's doing in the yard outside in the house in the urban farm, the first thing that she wants to go for is purple flowers. So now, there are purple flowers in lots of various little places around my urban farm. And Karis spends her days in the summer when she's with me coming and looking at these flowers and taking care of them and watering them. And she noticed something one day that surprised her and kind of actually scared her. And that was that there were bees on her purple flowers. She said, oh, in her 3-year-old mind, bees sting you, and that's bad. I don't want bees on my flowers. So she came to me and said, Dad, this is terrible. There's bees on my flowers. What do I do about this? They're going to sting me, and I'm afraid of them. And I said, well, you know, Karis, you can't have flowers without bees. It just doesn't work that way. Because flowers need bees to exchange pollen with one another, right? And we all kind of know this now as adults, but for her, she didn't know this. So what happened was the bees turned into friends that were actually helping her flowers grow and be healthy and purple. And this is my son Asher actually petting a bee. He's gotten to the point where he likes to pet bees. So in addition to the purple flowers, we have a plum tree that makes these purple plums. And as you can tell, Karis is ecstatic to be eating a purple fruit. So naturally, in addition to her purple flowers that she has around, which don't actually bear fruit, but in addition to that, we've got this plum tree. So she pays very close attention to the plum tree as well. And one day she came to me and said, Dad, I've noticed something is wrong with the plum tree. I'm getting a lot of these leaves right here that are dying, and I'm afraid that our plum tree is going to die, and we're not going to have any plums when it comes to the fall. So as you can tell, she's really concerned in this picture, looking at the leaves and trying to figure out what's going on. So she comes to me with a hypothesis and says, Dad, I think these bugs are ruining our tree. We need to get rid of them. We can't have these bugs on our tree because they're eating up the leaves. And so I said, okay, let's go take a look and figure out what these bugs are. So this question sort of led us into some research about what these bugs are doing on the tree. And as it turns out, does anybody recognize what this bug actually is? Anybody know what that is? It's a ladybug larva. So naturally, it was pretty cool that there were going to be ladybugs around once we found this out, and Karis was excited about that too. But what was more important than finding out that these were eventually going to turn into ladybugs was finding out that ladybug larvae actually consume aphids. And if you look here on this dying leaf, these little black dots are aphids. So what did we do? Well, we started picking up the ladybug larvae and taking them over to the dying leaves and say, here you go, aphids, here we go, ladybug larvae, have a little aphid snack and save our plum tree from certain despair. And one more thing, this is a cabbage moth. And one day I was sitting in my sister's yard in Seattle with my daughter Karis, and this cabbage moth comes flying by, and my sister says, Karis, look, it's a little white butterfly. And Karis says, no, Aunt Heather, that's not a butterfly, it's a cabbage moth. And then she goes over to the broccoli plant and says, it's larvae, eat these holes in your broccoli leaves. Wow. Oh, these are my chickens. And I like to think that if my chickens were in a punk rock band, this would be like the liner photo, you know, inside the album. But what we're talking about here is kids interacting with the environment around them and naturally developing questions that they want answered and having experiences that answer those questions for them. And what's different about these chickens from the ladybug larvae and the aphids is that we raise these chickens from when they're chicks. So we get to see the whole lifespan of these chickens right here on our urban farm. This is my son Asher when he was about 3 raising a chicken named Buff. It's a Buff Orpington. He named one Buff and one Orp. We have two of them. And this is Buff today. And so Asher noticed one day that Buff was not coming out of the coop. She was staying in there. She was isolating herself. She was sitting in the coop. She wasn't eating. She wasn't drinking. And that red comb was turning kind of gray. And he came to me and he said, "Dad, I'm really worried about Buff. I think she's going to die because she's got to be sick. She's hiding. She's not coming out. And she's not laying any eggs, more importantly." And the eggs, obviously, are something that we love. We eat these every morning. And so we're really worried about Buff not laying eggs. Well, we started to do a little research, and we figured out that this happens to chickens when they become broody. When they get old, they want to hatch an egg, desperately want to hatch an egg. It's coded into their DNA because they're meant to have these little chicks running around. That's what chickens are built to do. But Buff's problem is that we don't have a rooster. Buff's eggs don't have enough DNA to actually create a chicken. And so I was explaining this to Asher, what's happening. Well, it's never going to happen. She's never going to hatch an egg because we don't have a rooster. There's no male giving the male half of the DNA to the chicken so that we'll actually have a chicken hatch. And then I realized that I just explained sexuality to my son via the chicken. So the chicken track is when people in Helena come around and look at urban farms and like chickens and talk to people like they think they might want to get involved in it. So we had the chicken track and the kids, help me do this, and people are coming around, and Asher's giving the tour of the chicken coop, and he's explaining to these people right now, Buff is sitting in there not doing anything. He's saying, well, Buff really wants to reproduce. Verbatim, he said that. And, but she can't because we don't have a rooster. And the rooster would supply the other half of the DNA, so these eggs aren't fertile. They're never going to hatch, but she's desperately in here trying to hatch because that same DNA tells her that she needs to do that. She has to do that. And that's why she's not coming out. And the thing about these lessons, when we talk about pollination, we talk about the life cycle of the aphids and the ladybug larva, we talk about the broody chickens, we talk about the plum tree and the cabbage moth, is that these experiences are integrated into the kids' daily lives. Their experience with the learning environment and me and the other people and the things in it are what give them the structure to remember the basic facts that we're trying to teach them. This type of learning is way more effective because it creates a social experience that roots the children's understanding of the concepts to the way they live their lives. And at the end of the day, this is how we ought to be thinking about both our physical and digital learning environments as things that our students can interact with regularly on a daily basis, hopefully, and create social experiences that involve not just the environment, but the people in it as well. This is how we were evolved to learn. We didn't sit in lectures when we were evolving as humans. We worked along beside one another and we interacted with the environment over and over again. We need to remember that because our education has gotten really disconnected from that natural way that we have evolved to learn. So there you go. Excellent. Of course, answer any questions if anyone has them.
How's Buff?
Buff is laying again.
Okay. Yeah, so it's gonna,
Yeah.
come out of that, or did you find a rooster? Or?
Well, no, they eventually come out of it. You can pick them up and take them and throw them back out and sort of just keep doing that day over and day over, and they'll start eating again, or they won't. But they won't actually die from broodiness. They'll starve themselves a little bit and pretty litters, but they come out of it.
You didn't think of going to the neighbor's farm to get a fertilized egg?
I considered that. I've also considered getting a rooster because it is actually legal to do that. In Helena, you can have a rooster, believe it or not, in the middle of the city. But that is asking a lot of, well, me mostly, to actually start breeding and hatching eggs. And the chickens will do that mostly on their own, but I prefer to just keep it to an egg-laying operation. You can get those hen chicks that are already sacked for like $1 in the spring. And I'll add 4 in the spring, I'll call 4 in the fall, and it works on about a 3-year cycle where they cycle over because after about 3 years they're not very productive anymore. I've given a few away as like pets to neighbor kids and stuff. Let that run around the yard for a while. It's the farm.
They eat bugs.
They do eat bugs, and chickens have a dramatic impact on the biodiversity of any area that they're in because they will make the garden clean. So there are certain plants that we have to keep them away from because they'll eat them, if we want to consume them. Because They're vegetable beds. I mean, we do beets and broccoli and carrots and tomatoes and all that stuff. And chicken a little bit on that too, but yeah. Great, thanks guys.
To do the duplicate.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Here's that.
This, let me see. Okay, hopefully we have the lucky. Okay. So thank you for staying. My name is Lei Ye, and I'm from Pacific Northwest University of Health Sciences. We are a private non-profit medical school founded in 2005 and started to enroll students from 2008. And we have like about 500 students, so we are tiny compared to lots of universities here. So today I want to share a product we started to use since last year. It's called the Progress IQ, which the key concept is a dashboard, kind of grabs data from different data sources. So for our users, faculty, students, and administration people, they can just, with one login, they can look for the stuff they have. So since I only have 5 minutes, so first I want to show you this small little clip about why we need this product. We have the dilemma solution. Yeah, we have multiple systems that we need to access. Yeah, our faculty are confused because they don't have their access to the data. And then for the third and fourth year students go out for rotation, people really feel like so frustrated. Running for everything,
created using Powtoon.
Headache. So in last year, I think in the conference, yeah, our associate dean of academic affairs, she kind of heard this product. It started from a medical school, so they understand our pain, and they started to develop this product and share it. So next, I just want to do the live demo about this. So the product is called the Progress IQ. So for now, I'm logged in as the admin. So they have different roles: admin, faculty, registrar, staff, and student. So with different role, you can customize which pages they can access, what kind of data they can view or customize. So if you're a student, basically you only see the home and the snapshot. So for the snapshot, that's the main area we look for data. So for my view, I just grab a student. So this is in the demo mode. That's why you see all these weird things. Yeah. Okay. So you can see with the student picture, and enrollment office, usually they load all these background information. See there all the testing scores anything student reported, so they can load into this. So whoever worked with this student, when they log in, pull this student out, they can quickly get a flavor of, okay, what's the background they can talk about. And then the next section is their grades. So semester 1, 2, 3, 4, and then third and fourth year. Since I'm pulling out the first year students, so that student only have active like for the last fall, and then for this is ongoing this spring semester. And it's a very simple, very straightforward platform. So some people will feel like, oh, it doesn't look very fancy. It's very plain. But for medical school, it's perfect. Because anything you need like 2 or 3 clicks means people just don't want to use that. So we need to make sure it's easy. Without too much training, they can still find stuff they want. So here is how students see where they are for the grades. And also, if they hover over this bubble, they see all these quizzes. So kind of track their progress. If I go with so DO 2016 means they are graduating next month. So you can see they got first 2 years, those scores. And then for the third and fourth year, they go out for rotations. Then for different rotations, for now we have the data stored in eValue. If you are familiar with healthcare, eValue is a big tool, kind of big name they use to do scheduling, to do evaluation. So we have multiple stuff going on. And you can see for this, we can pull like preceptor evaluation of student, then student evaluation of preceptor, something like this. So this communication from eValue to Progress IQ, it's automated. So it's kind of a nightly data feed. But for the grades I demoed, it's kind of manually spreadsheet upload process. Yep. And also here, there is a notes section. Yeah. Okay, so they can put public notes, which our faculty use that to track all their advisory meetings. On day so and so, I meet with students on stuff, so they can write it. Administrative notes, we use that, so students won't be able to see that. It's more like faculty, admin, regional people. We kind of communicate messages using this. Or you can use your private, but usually we'll tell faculty or whoever use the system, say, students have the right to view all the records. So if you want to write something down, you need to think about that. Professionally write up your notes. So that's another area. And also here, because for the medical school, they need to take different big national exams. So this also automatically pulling data from different sources, except for this US summary. This is kind of manually. But for all these, it's kind of automatically feed. Yeah, so very simple, very straightforward. We kind of started working with the vendor. Actually, it's a very small team. They started from a medical school, then they have the computer science background, and they start to build up this dashboard product. So it's kind of pretty much medical education focused, but you may think about if on the market there are other products, or you may be interested to develop a product with similar concepts, just pulling data from different sources. For your end users, it's really a good thing to save their time. So our students say, oh, before I need to log into Moodle and click on each course and get my grade. And now they just log in Progress IQ and they can see the progress and they can see where they are. And our faculty, they feel like, oh, I don't fully rely on what students present to me while I do the advisory thing. They just say, I can log into this, I can see their background, see their grades, see their strengths, their weakness, and then I can talk to them. Like third and fourth year, our assistant dean of clinical education, if a student will stop by and say, oh, may I talk to you? I will about to go out for rotation, and I don't know which area I should choose. So she can just log into the system, grab that student data, and say, oh, okay, I think probably you can think about this. So use that. And our associate dean, her feedback is when she meets with dean or with our president, so she can easily just use this system and show the big picture, or she wants to spot particular student and see the problem. So she say, oh, if I don't have time to do the meeting prep, but with this tool, it's really easy. I don't feel bad like wait them for me to collect data. It's pretty handy and 24/7. And before we implement this product, we had the budget to hire one coordinator person. Just the focus is to respond to different requests of looking for data. Then we heard about this product, so we kind of did this internal proposal. I think we can either spend money to hire a person, or we can spend the money to use this product to provide 24/7 access. So luckily our admin person decided to go this route. And so far, yeah, our experience is good. And since the vendor team they are small, they are kind of also young, so they are very willing for kind of happy to work with us. They say, what you need, tell us. We can help you. So some of the features were initially built, developed by them, but some of the features we asked for them. I say, oh, for our institution, we want to track this. Can you make it happen? Then we give them a big Christmas wish list. And they say, oh, that's too long, that's too much. Can you help us prioritize that and tell us when you want that happen? So they also evaluate, then we come up with a plan we both parties we agree with. And then, yeah, continue. We are still working on some of the features for the next stage. And also, because this one, we involve like registrar office, enrollment office, like academic affairs, assessment office, so and IT. So we are working on a workflow, kind of documentation to make sure when the new year starts, when students are loaded, how this thing can help us make our life easier. Yeah. So sorry, I don't have fun pictures and I think after I heard Ryan say, oh, great learning happens outside the classroom, but I have to put you guys back to the story. Yeah, but yeah, so I just want to share this. Hopefully it gives you some, thoughts or kind of sparkling ideas. You may look for similar products, or if you can use this, you may contact the vendor.
Did you have any problems with passing your FERPA-protected student data into another program? Because I could imagine some of my administrators saying, no, student grades, we can't have student grades anywhere but right here, where we keep it very safe. You didn't think for that?
For now, I haven't heard this, because the registrar office can also work in part of the process. Sometimes they will kind of put notes, say for this student data, it's illegal to release that student data. But for save the data in this system, seems it's okay. Yeah. Okay. I think we're all free now. Thank you.
Now I think it's the whole session. We're only scheduled 2 now, so it's about right.
Oh, I just realized I forgot to click the button to record.
Oh,
no! It was
But
recording.
I did
Still
this.
recording.
We got it. Still going.
Oh, we had it?
We're good.
Oh, okay,
I
cool.
started it.
And also yesterday I had a longer session, actually more details about this. So if you want to know more, that video will be better.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.